Well, we weren't on there for very long.
No, I didn't see anybody that quick. All right, so we should be live in the Facebook page now. Share it out to the group.
Okay.
You share it to your own group because they'll get it
Yeah.
deleted by mods or something.
Sweet. I see it.
I got banned
There.
from Danny Vega's group while I was on a live with him.
Are you serious? Who banned you? How'd you get banned?
One of his mods, because it was when I was shared the John Logan's live, the 2-hour one. They came around and they banned me while I was on a live in that group with like Danny and a few other people. Then I got banned like.
Oh, that's funny.
Wow.
That's funny. Sweet. Okay, so I think I'm good to go in my group. Hi, everybody who's joining.
Awesome. What's up? What's up, everybody? Excited to be back. Round 2. We just started this a couple minutes ago. We're ready to restart it again. I think we just got it posted in our group as well. Let me pull that up.
Perfect. Yeah, and if whoever is in the group, obviously comment if you have a question on the.
Yeah, guys, welcome. I'm so excited to have Mackensie here. Comment, say something below, ask a question. We're about to talk about something that I'm so freaking excited to talk about. I personally feel like this is really the next step in notifications and marketing for at least the next couple of years. Very, very excited here. I've had some bad experiences with email here recently. It's really pissed me off, so I can't wait to talk more about this. I'll be the first to admit I'm not the biggest expert when it comes to chatbot and messenger. I've known about it. I know it's successful. I know it works. It's not something we need to implement. But now, last Wednesday, I had an epiphany. We need to start implementing it. So we wanted to come in and go find out one of the best people we know who knows all about chatbots, does a ton. Been watching her for a while. So excited to have her on here. Again, guys, comment below, show yourself. It's going to be an awesome chat. But with that being said, Mackensie, I know you're really making a reputation here around the community as the chatbot expert. So go ahead, introduce yourself, talk a bit about your past, how you came in, how did you get into chatbots? What led you down this path?
Well, when you find out about my background, it'll make it even more surprising. My background is I'm a clinically certified cytogeneticist. And so I've been doing that for the past 10 years. And what that pretty much is I analyze chromosomes for abnormalities. And so being in the lab, I was doing that and it was interesting, but I'm not the typical lab person where, I like interacting with people a lot more than, the typical lab person who's pretty introverted. And I've got into Facebook advertising a little over a year ago, and I started getting some success with that. And it was at about 10 months ago that I started learning about chatbots. And I was like, oh, I need to learn about this. This seems really interesting. And it was, it really dives in well with my analytical mind and background and with certain procedures and how things have to go a certain way. And I just dove in, and it's been a fun ride. It seems like it's been forever, but it's only been like 7 months or so that I've been using bots. First started out with my own, just kind of messing around with it, seeing, how one thing worked. And then if it didn't work, changed it around and stuff. And yeah, I just dove in and I just get it. It just really works well with the way I do things. And so I've been starting to do chatbots with lead gen for different businesses. And I've been featured in the ManyChat blog for my restaurant client. I got 100% open rate, which I'm sure, Nick, with the whole email thing, you're like, oh my gosh, that's like unheard of. But, chatbots, they have an amazing open rate. Also, the whole engagement aspect of it, everybody's on their phones for the most part. So you think of hierarchy of notifications, as I like to say it. And, you have text message and messenger right then and there. And then it's probably like Facebook, then email. Like I open my email like once or twice a day, and it's mainly for just business emails. So I saw that and I was like, okay, this is the next biggest thing. And so I got into it and started my own group and started doing some consulting also, and just released a beta course. So that's kind of in the span of about 7 to 10 months. That's where I've gone and where I'm at now. And I can just, in that amount of time, I've seen how much that this industry has changed because it's only been around, for technically a little over a year and a half within Facebook Messenger. And it's just picking up steam. It's just going wild, and the amazing possibilities with it and functionality that they're bringing to it with the two main chatbot softwares that they're kind of going neck and neck with each other. It's great because the competition, it's just, raising the bar.
That's awesome. I love the background there. So it looks like we got several people on. Chatbots, to me, I mean, it means so many different things. So a lot of the people who watch this channel do a lot of local business lead generation. So a lot of this conversation is going to be about that. But again, we can do it for any type of marketing. We're going to look at doing it for our inbound marketing for our agency, as well as doing it for our local business side of things. But for the people who are on here, I mean, there's a lot of confusion about what a chatbot is, how does it work, all that. Do you have like a simple way of describing what a chatbot is, what it means when it connects to Messenger, how it interacts, and how many chat goes in? That way you can add some more clarity, not just for myself, but also for everyone who's watching who might not know everything about it.
Yeah, sure. So on the outside, what I like to explain is it's like email marketing, but it's more engaging. And it's like if email marketing and Choose Your Own Way books, if you remember those back in the day, if those kind of melded together.
What was that? Because that did the Choose Your Own Way?
Goosebumps is another one. Yeah. Well, that was a different one, but Choose Your Own Way is like, you open it and it's like, oh, if you want to pick up the shovel and go to so-and-so place,
I remember those.
Whatever. So
to keep going.
No. So that's kind of how I like to explain chatbots to people who have no idea what they are. It's all automated on the back end. So it's also, when somebody experiences a chatbot for the first time, they're like, oh my gosh, this thing it knows what I want. You type in a keyword and it sends this message like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But it's all automated and determined in the back end and planned out beforehand. So there's no real AI quite yet with chatbots, but I'm sure there will be at some point. But in terms of like lead gen and stuff, pretty much it's, if you're running Facebook ads to a bot, you just ask the questions to like what you would normally do for like a landing page, the name, email, phone number. Also being able to send out messages to people, to keep you or the business, at top of mind for the procedure or whatever offer that they're doing. Also being able to just follow up. People are on like I said, on their phones all the time and on Messenger, so it's easy to follow up with them.
Okay, very cool. So basically you can use it to build lists, you use it for lead gen, you use it for engagement as well as driving leads. Are you using it mainly to replace landing pages, or are you using it in conjunction with landing pages? I know that the options are really kind of endless here. And so keep going with that.
Exactly.
How would you describe it with that?
So I still have ClickFunnels, but for most of my clients, ClickFunnels is a plan B now, just because, and also depending if it's mainly lead gen, it's plan B because I can get everything within Messenger, the name, email, phone number, pretty much through Messenger, and it's more personable than just a box that you type in your name and phone number and email. You do the same thing, but it's conversational. So people are like, oh, I'm talking to somebody. I've actually had people where they get, whatever lead gen thing, and then they reply back with thank you. You can't do that with an opt-in landing page. So that is kind of with landing pages, how I work with that. The only downside currently, which I know this is only temporary, is that Facebook pixels cannot be implemented in Messenger yet. I mean, there's some slight workarounds, but not 100% that you can track conversions like you can with a landing page. So until that happens, I think that I'll still have, ClickFunnels or whatever on the, just in case is my plan B.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Yeah, I love hearing about this. You touched on a few things why this is so freaking important to me right now is because of the open rates and the engagement factor of it. Email is just being open less and less. I'm not here to say, I know people out there saying right now email's dead, it's going to die. I don't think Gmail's going anywhere. Don't worry about that. But it's very much for B2B conversations. But from a B2C standpoint, lead generation, I feel like this is the way to go. Because the majority of people out there that we're looking at doing lead gen, they don't have email pop-ups on their phone like I do, or you guys might. They're not as attached to it because we're all looking for our next sale or something from a client, something from an employee, whatever. But with the normal average person, they're checking their phone once a day and they have like 87,000 freaking emails in there. I've seen them on people's phones. You look down and think that's the one thing that's never zeroed out on somebody's phone is the email box. So I love this from a standpoint of being able to stay engaged with people, and then also to be able to send them push notifications. That's what I'm really, really excited about, being able to stay in touch with them and make sure that it gets right to them. I mean, what kind of open rates are you seeing? I've heard 80, 90% plus. I think you just said 100% or something, but I mean, we're seeing ridiculous open rates, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's pretty awesome in terms of comparing it to email. But email until people ask me like, oh, is email dead? And I'm like, well, as long as Facebook uses email for custom audiences, then no. But there's obviously other uses as well.
No,
but,
email's not going to die for internal stuff right now. It's still got a long ways to go. People are still making millions of dollars off emails every day. This isn't what we're saying here, but I do think that there's a ton of value in moving towards building your list on Messenger at this point. The only real issue I have with it is that Facebook then owns it, and you don't necessarily own the list anymore. But we got to do what we got to do. I don't think Facebook's going anywhere right now. And if that's the way to reach people and that's the most effective way to get in front of people, we got to be paying attention to it. Plus, the biggest marketers are all doing it, all utilizing it. So, I mean, what are your thoughts with some of that stuff as far as, it's not owned by you or whatever? You might spam people or annoy them or people won't engage. Because those are thoughts that initially ran through my head. Because at first, I'll be honest, when I first heard about them, I'm like, oh, Facebook's going to ban that shit in like a week. But now I know Facebook's partnered up with them. They love it for engagement. So talk a little bit about that for some people who might have had some fears of starting to build lists through Messenger.
Yeah, so you have to kind of have a mind shift change a little bit with bots. So first of all, with emails, you're used to sending out like 3 or 4 emails in a day just to try and get one open rate that you're hitting it at the right spot. So with Facebook Messenger bots, they have some rules. So, emails like, Wild West, you can send out as many emails pretty much as you want, as long as someone, doesn't unsubscribe. But Facebook has like at least one main rule that you have to follow, which is a 24-hour rule. So you can only send a promotional message within 24 hours of them last interacting with your bot. So, replying with a message or hitting a button or whatever. So that way you can't be really spammy. You can send great content, and this also helps to promote valuable content, right? That you're not always selling somebody because they're looking out for their end user. They want their end user to have a positive experience within Messenger. Someone can always, unsubscribe if you are sending too many messages and they don't like it or they're no longer feeling like it's relevant to them. But as long as it's within 24 hours that you can, send a promotional message, then you're within the rules and you won't get a nasty message from Facebook they've now started to kind of crack down on that. For the last 4 or 5 months, they really weren't cracking down on it. But now people are starting to get cracked down on, which, is good for, so it doesn't get ruined. But there's one way though to get around, because you're like, okay, well, I have these subscribers who showed up in my list 3 months ago. How's that going to work for me to send them a promotional message? Well, if you're sending decent content, informational content, off and on, and I suggest on a weekly basis, not doing more than 3 to 4 a week, just because it's more highly engaged and you're going into somebody's Messenger inbox. And so they're going to be more involved and engaged. And so you don't want to, spam them, by too many messages that way. But as long as you're sending them a message and then they're interacting with it, you could even ask a question. So for example, like my restaurant client for Halloween, he wanted to do a special. And so we had a 20% off coupon code. And, I've had people who've been subscribed to the bot since July. And so all I did is I sent a broadcast message asking, hey, are you interested in finding out more about what we're cooking up for Halloween? And just, an open-ended question. And then if they hit yes, well, then they interacted with the bot. And then I could send them a message with the coupon code saying, oh, well, we're offering 20% off if you come in, on Halloween tomorrow. So doing stuff like that to try and get engagement and get people to interact is the one way that you can, skirt around that 24-hour rule. Facebook does allow, they actually call it 24+1. And what that means is after that 24 hours, you do have the option to send one more promotional message that, like I said, is after that 24-hour last interaction. But for myself, I don't even really want to get to the edge. Like, I don't want to get potentially saying, oh, sorry, you did this wrong, or it's the wrong, you had one extra message or whatever. So I try to stay back from that and stay within that 24-hour rule.
Gotcha. Yeah, you don't want to piss Facebook off. Mark Zuckerberg could really slap the ban hammer on you. It's not fun when they shut down accounts and shut things down, trying to get those reopened. That's awesome. So you brought up a little bit about a restaurant here thing. I would love to hear if you got, can you give us an example rundown maybe just a specific local business and how, a chatbot might work as far as generating leads? Talk about it so we can get a little bit more clear on what we can do them for, why it works better, maybe cost per lead, some sort of maybe a little case study thing that you can talk about to provide some clarity for everyone who's watching.
Yeah. So, and I have people who say, oh, I want a chatbot, but they don't do Facebook ads. Well, I'm like, well, you can have a beautiful chatbot that does all these great things, but if you don't have it hooked up to traffic, then it's just going to sit there. And, we all know that organic reach is just plummeting. So you really want to combine it with Facebook ads. So with that said, like one example is with that restaurant client, we did a giveaway. So what we did is a giveaway for 3 free meals. And then, everybody who entered got a free appetizer coupon. And the great thing is with ManyChat specifically is they have 4 main growth tools that can be utilized with Facebook ads. And so the one I used was the comment growth tool. So everybody, when it's an exciting post or ad like that where people are excited to enter and they comment and they want, to be able to, they don't care that they're commenting on an ad post, then that actually will increase engagement, obviously with the ad, which will then decrease the ad cost and increase relevancy of the ad. So it's like a win-win for that, being able to do a giveaway with that.
Real quick, Mackensie, I want to back it up a little bit. So are you starting running this as a messenger ad, or what type of ad objectives are you starting with here with ManyChat? Which ones do you typically utilize? I know you just mentioned the comment growth tool of ManyChat, but what are we starting on in Facebook, and then walk us through it?
Oh yeah, so with the comment growth tool, utilize the page engagement because you're wanting people to comment. You want to have the algorithm reaching people who comment. If you're doing the JSON Facebook Messenger destination, then that would be, the messages for the objective, and then you would put in the JSON code, and then that would be, when someone clicks on the ad, messenger just pops right up. So those are the 2 main ones that I utilize. Between the 4 that there are, there's also, you can use just a URL and then they open it, but they still have to hit the get started button. So there's one extra step that they have to do with that one. And then the landing page one, that's really cool because it opens up a landing page. But the thing is now Facebook has made it where when they hit send to Messenger, like let's say you're giving a cheat sheet away and you click send to Messenger, a little pop-up box pops up from Facebook stating, if you click OK, then you're giving this page public access to your profile, which is pretty much saying that they get to see your public profile, which nobody cares about. But the way they word it makes people think like the page is going to take over their profile. And so if you have people in your audience that are like freaked out about stuff like that, then a lot of people are going to jump off of that. So, but yeah, so my restaurant one with the giveaway, doing the comment one, worked really well because then after they commented, then in ManyChat, I had it set up where the messenger will just send them a message and say, okay, comment below, because you have to do a second comment, another Facebook thing that they put in there. It's not a ManyChat rule, but you have to comment a second time within Messenger. And then after that, then I would have them or send them the free appetizer coupon. And so that was, how that goes.
So the 2 main ways you recommend using right now are the PPA, the PPE, the page engagement post, where anybody who comments below is automatically entered into the chatbot funnel, essentially. And then we've got the send to messenger ads where we can say click below or click the ad below, and then all of a sudden you can get sent a message direct to your email. So those are the 2 best ways to go about it, is what you're saying right now, what the 2 ways you recommend. Awesome. And then you walk through. Go ahead.
The thing is with Messenger, to get a subscriber, you have to have them interact with your bot. So the comment growth tool one, where they have to comment again within Messenger, that is them interacting with the bot to become a subscriber. So for example, like the ref URL where I said they have to hit the get started button, if they click and the link for the ref URL, it'll open up Messenger bot, the box, but it won't send them the message yet. They have to hit the get started button. If they don't hit that button, then they don't become a subscriber. So they have to do some sort of interaction with your messenger to become a subscriber.
So what if they get started on the ad, and then like your message pops up, they have to reply for them to become a subscriber? Yep. Okay. Yeah, that's where we fucked up on something, Nick. I have a question. So on a lead gen standpoint, right? So say you have like a doctor or whatever, and you're running an ad for like a free screening or a free offer or whatever, consultation, whatever you want to call it. They opt in to find out. So say you're using the get started method, right? At which point, hey, do you have these symptoms or whatever? If yes, click here. If no, click here, right? That once that happens, they become a subscriber. Now, how do I get their name, phone number, and email to deliver it out to my client?
So with that, and like I've done some chiropractor and dentist bots as well, where you ask them, hey, what's your name? And it's in ManyChat, it's called user input, and it's a pro version of it, which is $10 a month if you have 500 or less subscribers. And you end up saying, what's your name? And then you have them, they'll type in their name, and then you ask them their email and their phone number. And then what you can do is connect ManyChat to Zapier, and then you can export it out, to Google Sheets, to Trello, to their CRM, whatever.
Zapier integration, it'll track that one contact and then put it in a row? Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So you're saying that there's a way to use this for chiropractors? No way.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right?
Good old Chiro running. So let's talk about a conversion. Let's use chiropractors for that's something that a lot of people have experience in. I'm pretty sure most people have done and started their own Facebook ads agency, have probably ran for a chiro at some point, probably ran Dan Henry's $21 offer or whatever. What type of conversion and response rate are you getting, like, from when someone clicks, like, let's say the get started button for, getting in? Like, how often are they replying to their name, email, and phone number? Because that's something I would think these people, are they really just writing this shit in here on the bot? Like, the fuck? But, I'm always wrong about everything. So, what kind of opt-in rates are you seeing?
So let's see, with the one chiropractor that I ran, it was actually pretty decent. And he's the only chiropractor that I've ran ads for. So I don't really have a comparison to, stats compared to a landing page. But we got quite a few people. I'm trying to remember 41 people in a month who put in their name, phone number, and email. Some of them weren't, of course, coming in, how that works out. There's tire kickers. And side note, I don't know why people put in their information and then just go MIA. It's like, why'd you take precious time out of your day to put in your information?
It's a million times worse when the clinic calls the night before, confirms that the person's coming in, or the morning of, holds a spot for them, and then they don't show up. And it happens, I hear about it dozens and dozens of times per week, every single week from as a lot of you guys know, we have clients all across the country. We hear about this nonstop. We can find a way to solve that the cancellation rate.
Oh, I know.
No-show rate. I mean, we're rich, but we're working on it. And we got some ideas with ManyChat I want to start testing and working on here.
Yeah, definitely. So like, for example, with the chiropractor and dentist are pretty much like the same sort of situation, right, for ads. So like, for example, I was running ads for my dentist specifically. And the great thing is, also I'm sure you run into the fact that a lot of the office staff, they do not know sales, and they also hate calling people. So, so the great thing is I was able to, through a Google Sheet, put some columns saying, okay, you contact them on the first day, you reach out, I'll contact the second day, and I'm contacting through Messenger. So it's a little bit more it's where they originated from instead of them getting a phone call. And I was able to, with Messenger, say, hey, you opted in for this free Sonicare toothbrush with a new patient exam. Can we get you set up for, an appointment or whatever? And they're like, oh, yeah, I forgot. Or, oh, yeah, I'm getting my braces off. I mean, they're just totally conversational. And it was great because I actually was able to convert a number of people just from within Messenger. People are like, oh, I don't want to talk on the phone. I don't have time. A lot of people they want to get off the phone, right? Except for unless they're texting or messaging. So that was great, being able to convert people and then be able to take that off of the receptionist's job, who said that she was too busy to call the leads. She actually told me that. And I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. So that's the other great thing about follow-up with Messenger, is that it helps to convert because it's more engaging. And then, like you were saying, with being able to utilize chatbots, being able to, if you can have a client that has online scheduling that you can connect, you can actually use the chatbot to send a reminder message, the day before, an hour before, or whatever, saying, hey, here's your reminder, and just have that all automated. So then that way, it takes less of their time to have to follow up to, send reminders, where email might not be converting as well.
But only with Acuity, right? Fucking Calendly.
That's right. We talked about that.
That's for everyone watching. That's something right there that she said that I think is going to be gold. It's something we're going to be working on heavily instituting with our agency. We have to beta test it. I mean, we have 70 clients. We can't just roll it out overnight, but I really want to start testing that for the reminders to come through the text or to come through the bot. For some of you guys who are watching and spam texting, mass texting, be careful with that. We had a long conversation with our lawyer. Unless you have like giant check boxes when they put in their phone number, it is not really legal to text unless you have specific wording on there. I know everybody does it. People get away with it. I'm just saying it's something to be careful with if you're auto spam texting. Balls knows what I'm talking about. I called him as soon as I got off the phone with my lawyer because I know he knows his TCPA shit or whatever. And yeah, go touch on that, Balls, real quick, because I know everyone's saying, oh yeah, just spam text, no big deal, because texting's the best, but Messenger is going to be the second best, right? So that's why I really want a reminder to come through because nobody's opening the email reminders. But if you want to touch on that real quick, Balls, like I'm a little more cautious than you are.
So with the TCPA, you need to have to either call mobile phone numbers, and for SMS, you need to have express written consent. That's the verbiage they use. So you need something that basically says, yes, you're allowed to send me call my mobile line for business purposes, mobile phone direct specifically. You have to scrub against DNC, obviously, do not call list. And then for text is the same concept, right? So you need to have express written consent. So if you don't have that, it takes one person that just sues a lot of people for it to get one of those messages. And then there's class action lawsuits and discovery and the whole line. So
yeah, a bunch of bullshit. And this is mainly for auto text. Our lawyer did say one-on-one personal texting, there's no real precedent for that. If anyone wants to see a huge case about this recently happened, just go look up Jiffy Lube texting. They got hit with a sickeningly large fine. Granted, most of us here, we're probably not going to go for it. But like Paul said, especially if you're starting to grow assets, grow resources, we're very cautious of it now because we do have a bullet. We have been threatened to be sued before. It's part of what happens when you start generating seven figures, multiple seven figures. So we're cautious of it, but it's really the auto text. But there isn't anything like that in Messenger, which is why I'm fucking interested because people respond to push notifications and it works. So that's awesome. Acuity, you can do a reminder with it. I don't know if we can do it with Calendly. We're going to try and discover and figure that out. That's what we use is Calendly. Acuity tends to make my eyes bleed, but we might need to test it at some point because I know a lot of people use it. I know you guys use it successfully, both of you guys on this call. But there's just so many different things we can do with these bots to pass stuff out. Like I'm in, what's his name? Arnie Giske. Someone who probably a lot of know. I follow his stuff. He's great at growing groups. He's got a lot of good knowledge. I mean, it's like 15-day chat bot window thing I just signed up for because I just want to start following everyone who's got a bot right now and see what they're doing. And every single day he just drips out a new message. He's got a new and every single time it's got a new call to action, drawing people to his group, going organically. It's something that once people opt in for once, they're all of a sudden you can use again for lead generation for yourself, for your own agency, or for clients as well. Because the consumer is on Facebook at every age. Most people do have Messenger on their phone. And people open this shit. They don't open emails. They just, God, my last week is just a nightmare.
Mackensie, can you talk a little bit
exactly.
Can you talk a little bit about how you set up the framework for the sequences, right? Because that's one of the things that I think will throw a lot of people off. Like I look at them like, oh, what the fuck am I going to say for 10 or 15 or so messages, right? I'm looking for clients and for my agency. So if you have an insight on how to plot out that sequence.
Yeah, so with sequences, my suggestion is to have, obviously, if you're thinking about a sales funnel, you want to have the end goal in mind. So usually having okay, by the time that they're through, it's kind of like email where you have them through the sequence that you want to, give them, your ask or whatever, right? The great thing is with sequences, you can choose, if you want them to be sent once a day. And also along the lines of that, because it's a sequence that's going to be sent throughout certain days. If somebody's not interacting with it, you don't want your sequence messages to be spam promo, because that's, you're going to get in jail for that. But you want to, so you want to make sure you're asking questions beforehand at the beginning of the sequence, right? So my suggestion, what I suggest to people all the time is provide awesome content to increase the like, knowledge, and trust of you or your client to the person, right? Because the typical sales strategy is what, 5 to 7 touches that somebody will actually finally buy. So it's great because you can do that with sequences, and you can make it funny. You can add GIFs, you can add videos, audio. You can even do audio, video, or audio files in it, and you can say, hey, whatever. Your client, have them, record a quick, 10-second blurb of what they're doing, so that way it's an audio file, or have them do a little quick video, so it's more engaging and can be more fun where people are like engaged. The other thing is with sequences or just messenger in general is you want to keep your messages short, not this huge long, book. You can't just take your email sequence and then just throw it in Messenger. You need to make it interactive and fun where people are like hitting buttons or replying, things like that. So that way people are engaged and they have the entertainment value, right? And then being able to learn to, like I said, and have great information that they can utilize. So for example, like with a chiropractor or a dentist, having, tips, top 10 tips for this sort of thing. It works really well for gyms and personal trainers too, because they have so much information that they can give to people, to give them information that's actionable, that, they're like, wow, yeah, these are great. I've gotten some kind of, at least a little bit of results, on the scale, or I feel stronger, it's time for me to get some personal training or a gym membership. I'm going to go to these people, sort of thing.
So you might have answered this. I got a question for you. So you might have answered this before, but as far as like retargeting them with ads, now I know if they respond or engage, like let's say top 10 tips for, a dentist. What I'm thinking of here is a little bit more of a longer term local business funnel. Let's use landscaper, because we were talking about that in the office earlier today, which I don't necessarily think the best route is going to be for a landscaper is going to be just go 1-2 opt-in, for like a free consult or whatever, because everyone in the mom offers that. I think the best strategy for that's going to be something like, have a blog post for the top 5 ways to save money in your yard, and then retarget them from the pixel on there. Now, if you change that from, instead of taking people to the landing page to opt in to get her to read the blog, send it to the chatbot, they click through, they read it. Can you retarget them from them going through the chatbot? Or do they still have to go outside the landing page? Now, I know you can send them with a message, but they might forget about the message later on down the line. How do you handle that? Is that what we were talking about earlier as far as pixeling them?
Yeah, so there's two different ways you can do it. The great thing about chatbots is you can tag people based on their actions within the bot. So let's say you have, for the landscaper that you have, that blog article that you can actually tag people. If they click that button, then they will be tagged. So you know that they've gone through and gone to that page. You can also, obviously, the fact that it's going to click off to another site, then you can retarget them with that pixel if you want to run ads, paid ads for it. But otherwise, it's, like I said, in Messenger, there's no way to target with the pixel within Messenger. But, like I said, you can send messages to people once they're in your bot. So that's the great thing too, is, I tell a lot of my clients, I say, hey, we have this Messenger bot, we get all these leads in, we can send messages to them along, following Facebook's rules, but we can send messages to them free of charge to be able to get them to increase and be able to purchase from you. So that's kind of along the lines of being able to segment, and then also being able to follow up with specific messages that are relevant to the end user. I have a bookkeeper client, and with their message system, and it's, so if you had the flow builder, it's that huge bird's eye view of the bot of all the different messages and stuff. And it goes from, bookkeeping to payroll to taxes. And then depending on where they go in that flow, then they can be retargeted based on those specific things. Like if they're going to do a cheat sheet for payroll tips or something like that, then they can send it to just those people who are interested in payroll. So that those people are the most engaged and most interested, and then will be most likely to maybe purchase, their payroll services.
Okay, awesome. Wow. Do you guys hear all that though? I mean, that's what, 4 different, one, that's a ton of shit you can do, but I've heard at least 4 different industries that you've mentioned, which means, bookkeeper, restaurant, chiropractor, dentist. There's nothing that can't work for it. You get creative and start moving some of the messaging around. One of the things we got to remember, guys, is marketing is marketing. The platforms, the mediums are changed, but marketing is marketing. And what we're looking for is the best, cheapest, most relevant way to get our information and our message in front of a highly qualified prospect. And this is a way to do it right now. And it's something we're going to be jumping into heavily. We've only got about 12 minutes left, guys. So if you have questions, drop them in. I see a couple of questions here. I have one last question before we hit the questions here, Mackensie. You know, my favorite thing in the world. Let's talk about selling these fucking things. Building it out, setup fees, management fees, that type of stuff. What kind of stuff do you recommend? What are you seeing other people doing? Because I know it's got to be the wild, wild west out there when it comes to this. Some people are probably charging big companies $50,000 for a 3-sequence chatbot that they're getting to the CMO. Then there's probably people doing it for $200. What do you think? How do you typically go about charging? And the two-part question. That, and the second part is, how much upkeep and maintenance does it typically take you on a month-to-month basis?
So that's a good point. The second part really plays into the first part. So yeah, depending on the sequence, if it's typical lead gen, that's kind of standard. But if it's something where you're doing a ton of Zapier work, even if you're going and getting a bunch of coupon codes and delivering coupon codes with Zapier, I mean, there's a lot, ecom, that's another one I do chatbots for. So there's a lot of different variability, but usually I base it on, partially, and I do this for ads also, is basing it on the long-term value of a patient or client or a patient or customer to my client. But most of the time I charge, if they do, like I said, a bot is only so good as traffic coming to it. So if they need Facebook ads, which is what I recommend, I say, I charge $1,500 a month for ads, plus ad spend. And then if they want the bot by itself, it's $1,000 for a setup and then $500 a month for upkeep. But obviously if they partner the two of them together, then I cut off the initial setup fee for the bot, and then I just do $2,000 a month. And that's been working pretty well for a lot of my clients. But like for my restaurant, and actually he was the first one that I ever did chatbots for. I was like, hey, I have this new thing called messenger bots. And he has a Mexican restaurant. He's from Mexico. And so there's the whole language barrier too. So I'm like, I have this thing I want to try. So with him, I'm doing ads and a bot for $300 plus food. And so it's kind of like I've been able to mess around and just play around with it, which has been great because I've had this high stakes.
How many meals? That's an awesome deal. Guys, never forget that you can trade your services. We can do it all the time. The company I come from, they were really, really high-end marketing. He used to trade for like RVs and jacuzzis and all kinds of shit. But that's freaking awesome.
Oh yeah, we get my husband and I get three free dinners a month pretty much. So if you add, that could add up, right? And it's takeout, so I don't even have to go and make the food or go there or anything like that. I just go and say, hey, I'd like my dinner. So that's kind of how I lay out the monthly fee. And if somebody is like, oh, that's too much, and I said, okay, well, if you want to learn how to do it, I have a free, pretty much 5-day challenge that you can figure out how to do bots yourself. I did have somebody say that it was too much, with ads and stuff. I said, well, if you think about the investment of purchasing an ads course, this is actually pretty cheap for, having to have it be done for you and not having to learn it. So, but that's the initial fee. And then the monthly fee, and the amount of monthly work, it kind of depends on the client. Most of the time, like with, for example, the restaurant client, like right now I have a birthday ad running, which is going amazing because with Facebook, you can target people who have a birthday in the next week. So the audience is always changing every week. So I have new people seeing it every single week. So pretty much all I do is with the messenger bot is I check through their Facebook Messenger to make sure that there's nothing, somebody's not asking a question, or that it's, because there's glitches too, where all of a sudden, ManyChat just glitches and doesn't send the message. So then I have to go in and create a keyword and say, oh, reply with this, and you'll get the message again. That even happens with my own bot. So that's kind of all the upkeep that it requires, unless, there's a new growth tool that, a new ad I want to run, or, adding a broadcast for like a one-time thing. So that's, for the monthly, that it depends on how many messages they're getting a lot, but it's like me going in sometimes and, even replying to them. Like that dentist client I had, was going in and trying to help with the contacts and try and get people to schedule an appointment. So it kind of depends on the niche or whatever. Obviously the restaurant, I don't have to do that, but for some other ones I have to do a little bit more.
Man, that's awesome. So much freaking good information here. My head's already spinning. I'm sure everyone watching should be as well. Like literally all these different freaking things. We didn't even get into inbound stuff if you're looking to grow your own groups, or, I mean, literally it seems like you can do this for anything. And I'm seeing it all across the board. I'm trying to join as many, bots as I can just to see what some of the top guys are doing and following them. Balls, any questions, man, before we take a couple here in the group?
Not really. Probably have some follow-up questions later. Actually, yeah, I do. As far as So you did mention a lot of like upkeep involved. So when somebody replies back, is there a way to like zap those replies back to a spreadsheet as well so that you can track a conversation in entirety without having to go into the Facebook page and look at all the messages?
Not currently, there's not, but one thing that you can do is if you have the default reply on, I don't like the default reply because it makes it look really bottish, which is ironic. But with the default reply, you can say, hey, when someone replies with something that's not a keyword that the bot recognizes, then it will send the default reply, and then they can hit a button and say talk to human, or yeah, I want to chat, or something like that. And then on that button, you can actually set a notify admin, so that way you get notified via messenger from the page to your personal page when somebody is clicking and wanting to talk or whatever. I did the same thing for my dentist client. Whenever somebody went in and entered their name, then I would get notified that somebody was going through and becoming a lead, so I can double check to make sure they were going through it okay. I did see somebody ask, and that kind of is related, about why am I asking for somebody's name if it's their profile name? Well, there's a lot of people out there that say that their name is, James and Debbie Smith, right? It's where they do the combined Facebook page name. So that way we know for sure who it is. And also I've actually had other people opt in for other family members, for different things. So that's also something, or why I do it that way.
Okay. Actually, and the other question is interesting. Matt Clapp, he's a known guy around here. He's a good dude, really sharp, really ahead of the game. I know he's probably already running bots, but he did ask, are you running a redeemable offer through the chatbot?
Yeah, so like for the restaurant, I did a free appetizer coupon, which was great. But obviously, and I'm sure Matt understands this, I only wanted people to use it one time. I didn't want people just coming in and getting appetizers, multiple days, because there were some people that would come in and just get the appetizer and water and not buy anything else. So what I ended up doing is, I was looking into, coupon tools and some other third-party coupon apps and stuff, and they want like $2,000 a month. I'm like, forget that. I don't have this. Restaurant is paying me $300 a month. No, that's not going to work. So what I ended up doing is just using a button on ManyChat to say redeem here, which was good in good intention. And this is another example of why I tell people, potential clients, that I need, or it's good for them to have me keep up with the bot through the month, because you plan something out and then you throw it live and then something crazy happens you don't think about it was going to happen. So with this example, what happened was people were hitting the button to say, yes, I want the free appetizer, to be sent to them. And then they'd see the redeem button and they'd hit it at the same time. I'm like, you're not sitting at the restaurant and redeeming this right now. So I'd have to reply back to them, did you accidentally hit the redeem button? They're like, oh, sorry, yes. I'm like, do you read? No. And so then I'm like, okay, reply back with coupon, and then I'll send it to you one more time. And so that was a lot of work, and I was babysitting, and it was really frustrating. But so what I've done for the second time is I have a double button, like they hit it and it's like, are you sure you want to redeem this? And then a lot of times they just don't hit it. So that's actually worked really great.
Awesome. Yeah, people are real special and smart. It's pretty incredible how much people think these days. Pretty awesome. But with that being said, I know we only got a couple of minutes left here. Dawn, if you're not part of our group, yeah, everyone who's watching, definitely go join Mackenzie's group. Mackenzie, drop a link in the chat here. Matt, you're the man, bro. Hopefully, are you coming? I don't know if you're coming to New York City or not, but you should. With that being said, I know you got a call here shortly, Mackenzie, but any last words or thoughts or anything as far as bots go? Anything you want us to know?
Well, and like I posted in my group today is a reminder, and I'm sure this is for a lot of different aspects of marketing, but a lot of us are in this 24/7 and we think, oh, everybody knows about this or whatever. Most people and businesses, 99% of businesses don't even know what a chatbot is. So one great thing is being able to go to a potential client and say, hey, you know what? I bet 100% of your customer or your competition is not using messenger bots. So here, let me show you what this can do and how this could set you above your competition. So keep that in mind, because like I said, we're in it day in and day out, and we forget that.
I want to piggyback off that real quick, because I was listening to something when I was driving on the way home today. We do get biased by being and living in this world. We tend to think things are oversaturated, things are overmarketed. The dude I was listening to, his name's Tanner J. Fox. I'm going to mastermind with him. He's awesome when it comes to Amazon selling. Check out his YouTube channel. But he was talking about, is Amazon dead? Is it oversaturated? Is it overcrowded? Now, a lot of us aren't in Amazon. I'm not. But I love the way he presented it because it's what I've been thinking about, Facebook ads, that type of stuff. 2.5 years ago, there was actually more competition on Amazon because the amount of new sellers that are coming in every day is not keeping pace to the amount of new buyers and new consumers that are coming to the market. So it is still actually growing. Yes, there's technically more people selling on Amazon, but there's also a hell of a lot more people buying. And that's only going to grow exponentially over the same few years. Same thing with Facebook. The stats are something like last year at this time, there was 1.25 billion people on Facebook every month. In June of this year, there was 2 billion. Think about that insane, ridiculous amount of growth. I still talk to companies, my business talks to companies, my guys talk to companies all the time who like have never even done Facebook still. So yes, it can feel saturated. It can feel like that at times. That's a mindset thing. There is not oversaturation, especially not with bots. Are you kidding? Not even close. There isn't even oversaturation with Facebook ads. Yes, things are tougher. Yes, costs are going up. That's going to be that way. We just have to adapt and get better. But just think about that and make sure you go outside the world. 8 or 9 out of 10 people that you ask who are in your everyday life, who aren't in these online circles, they're going to have no clue. They probably don't even know what a webinar is. They don't know what a chatbot is. They don't even know what the hell a messenger ad is. They're not going to know what any of this stuff. They're not going to know what FBA from Amazon is. So keep that in mind. I think that's a really, really, really valuable point, especially if you're stuck, especially if you're frustrated, especially if you're having trouble with sales. You feel like, oh, well, I've already been pitched this, or you happen to come across and send an email to the person who said, I already done Facebook, blah, blah, blah. That's a mindset thing. There's so many people, so many niches, so many opportunities out there for all this type of stuff, because more and more people are going to be coming online. It's not changing, or it's growing insanely fast. Tons of opportunity for everybody. So I love that you brought that up, because that's something I was thinking about today. And I never thought about it from an Amazon FBA standpoint, but it's the same thing with Facebook ads. More people are coming in online than, the 1,000 or a couple thousand that get sold a course and try and sell something, every month in the little tiny community that we're in.
Exactly. And if you want a fun chatbot to check out Jim Gaffigan's chatbot. It's hilarious. So just go to his page and hit send message. It's pretty funny.
His name?
Jim Gaffigan, the comedian. Okay, I'll post it.
Yeah, post it real quick. I'll check that out. I think you were talking about him the other day when we were talking about.
Yes.
Love
Guru. Any last words, Balls?
No, I know you gotta go, Mackensie. We won't hold you. If you guys have any questions about chatbots or anything, just put a comment below this video, and we'll see if Mackenzie's able to get back to you on it. And then we'd like to obviously have you on when we're in New York City. Maybe we'll set something up to have a group kind of live or something like that.
Yeah, this was awesome, Mackensie. Thank you so much for taking some time, sharing a bunch of knowledge. I mean, basically went through all kinds of stuff, what industries use it for, the type of sequences we can do, where it's going. I personally, I said this before, but I'll say it again. I think this is unbelievably important to start building lists through messengers, not just in Facebook. I mean, this is the number one easiest place to go through on there, but across all platforms, I think push notifications are becoming the future. The consumer isn't opening email nearly as much as it used to. I think growing these lists, growing these audiences, engaging is going to be the future, and it's something that I'm going to be working on heavily over in 2018. So with that being said, Mackensie, thank you so much. We'll look forward to having you on again next week. We'll look forward to seeing you next in New York City. That's going to be awesome. And we'll be
I'm excited
sure to go live from there. All right, thanks, guys.
All right, thanks.